I want you to move from overwhelmed by information to confident in what really matters. I want to help you move from being unsure towards direction and purpose in your healthcare. I want to introduce you to health experts. I want to let you in on tough conversations on women's health. I want to give you a place where you can lean in and learn how to take care of yourself. Let's transform your health. Let's get clear on your goals. This is Women's Health Unplugged. I'm your host, Dr. Jordan Robertson, naturopathic doctor. Don't tarnish your future possibilities because of your past failures. Welcome back. We took the summer off. It's the second summer in a row, actually, that we've taken off. And this little hiatus allows us to do a lot of things. It allows us to think, regroup. It allows our entire team to take the summer to focus on some other things. And it also lets us approach September like a new year, which for so many of us that are still connected to the school system in some way, whether that's through our jobs or through our kids or other members of our family, September often does feel like this fresh new start. And I was thinking a lot about new starts and the kinds of things that get in our way of pursuing a new start. And I was reflecting on, when we have patients reach out to us at our clinic, which is in Ontario, Canada, and we do service people all over Ontario virtually, but we are in the GTA, and so we work with people in person in the GTA. And commonly, when we meet people, they are in the middle of a health journey. It's uncommon that they're at the very beginning, that they've never done anything, and it's very uncommon that they are at the end of their health journey and they have, achieved everything their heart desires. Otherwise, they would never reach out. So we're usually meeting people in the middle, which means that they have done things before we've met them, and very likely at some point they will do things after we've worked with them. And when I think about our mindset and some of the things that get in the way of us pursuing this middle of our health journey, it often has to do with how we feel about the things that we have tried in the past. So it's common when we meet people that they've done things, right? They've read a blog article and tried something, or they saw another kind of practitioner and tried something, or they were at a different season in their life and they tried something. And likely that thing either didn't work at all or maybe partially worked or served them in that moment and then now no longer serves them. But we think back on those past experiences really negatively. And we might say things to ourselves like, oh, I was so stupid for believing in that. Or I got duped into this particular program or testing or something, and I was so gullible, so terrible of me that I tried those things. They didn't get me anywhere. They didn't get me to my goal. And we carry around a lot of regret, right? We regret these past choices and regret the investment that we made, either with time or with money. And that feeling of how we feel about the things we did in the before prevent us from making decisions about moving forward. Have you ever called someone's office to make an appointment, and in the back of your mind, you're reflecting on the last time you tried something for your health? And I've even done this myself, physical therapy, very picky about who I see for physical therapy. And anytime I'm pursuing a new practitioner or I'm pursuing a new strategy, I'm thinking back the last thing I tried really didn't do anything. God, I don't know if I can emotionally and financially invest in this new thing. So I've been there. I've done it too. And occasionally I have not pursued something new because I'm still kind of getting over the thing that I did last. And what I want us to go into September with is a much different energy and mindset around the things we've done up until today. I want us to stop regretting our past choices. I want us to stop regretting our past investments that didn't get you to your goals. And I want you to stopping the pursuit of better because the last time didn't work out. Even though I think it's a natural tendency to have fear around doing something new. So we're going to reframe those sort of three pieces for us going into the fall, because I do think it's a much better strategy, and I think it will help you continue to be in the middle of your health journey if we can view it this way, and if we can put down the regret of things that we've done in the past. Right? It makes me think like of past boyfriends. And actually, I married my high school sweetheart, so I like literally have no past boyfriends, but maybe you can relate to this, is that you have those past boyfriends or past relationships and you come out of them. There's maybe some aspects of them that are disappointing or maybe even regretful. And yet when you pursue your next relationship, you are different. You know things, right? You're seasoned. I've seen this before. This is a red flag for me. And yet with our health, we don't think about connecting with each new idea, each new investment, each new practitioner in the same way. We look at them and we go, "Ooh, I've seen you before, you doctory type. You burned me. You didn't listen." And yet the experience actually could be very different if we actually lean in and pursue it as a brand new relationship. And yet we are now this experienced user of that relationship. So wherever you are in this sort of middle of your health journey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to stop regretting the past, and we're going to stop letting the past get in the way of us pursuing better and moving forward through the rest of the year. Now remember, you did not go to school for health, or very few of you that are listeners actually went to school for health, for research, right? That's my job. And yet, we often imagine that the information that we are consuming online or that we hear from our friends, we treat that sort of very similar to health prescriptions or health information. And sometimes some of the decisions that you've made or health choices that you've made were because in that moment you didn't actually know any better, right? You don't have an intimate knowledge of what's happening in your uterus or what that interplay is between stress and your hormones. Again, not your job, that's mine. And so in the past, when you've made decisions like drinking lemon water or trying apple cider vinegar or rubbing a particular cream on your skin, you were doing the best that you could in that moment with the information that you had. And so if you rubbed some cream that someone sold you at the health food store on your eczema and it didn't get better, what that doesn't mean is that no cream ever will help. It means that cream didn't help. It means maybe that cream wasn't the right cream for you, even though maybe it's helped other people. Maybe at the particular moment your eczema was flared up, that cream had no hope in hell of helping you. Maybe you had a bacterial infection at the same time in your eczema. And yet, we sometimes will imagine, well, if I bought that cream and that cream didn't work, creams don't work. Or if we saw a practitioner for a particular challenge that we were having, and yet our lives were in chaos at that time and we couldn't implement any of the things they suggested. It's just really the wrong time for us to get connected with someone, maybe. We often look forward and say working with someone doesn't work, right? Even though our lives and our schedule and our maybe lack of interest was the thing that prevented the treatment plan from actually being successful. We often, again, will look forward and say, well, it doesn't work to work with someone. So I don't want you to regret your past choices that you made when you made them based on the knowledge you had in that moment. You can't be mad at yourself for not knowing things you didn't know. You can't be frustrated that you didn't have the knowledge you have in this moment 5 years ago, right? How could you? That would be like being mad at your 14-year-old self for dating someone in your grade 9 class that wasn't right for you. Your experience, your knowledge, the time, the environment, the peer pressure probably is what made us go for that guy. Although I stayed with that guy. But we can't get mad at 14-year-old us for making poor relationship decisions. So don't get mad at 5 years ago you for choosing a cream for your eczema that you read about in a blog. You did the best with what you had in that moment. But when we regret our past health choices and the choices we made when we had a lack of knowledge to the point of it preventing us from moving forward, that's the problem. It is not a problem that you bought a lab test online and tried to figure something out about your hormones 2 years ago. Even last week, we're going to let it go because you were doing the best that you could with what you had in that moment. What you want to do, and this is where we're going to spin it, is we want to reflect on what that experience was like for us, what you learned from that moment, what you learned from that relationship, and reflect on what you need now based on what you know now, and move forward. Again, rather than letting the regret of the past influence our ability to lean into the future. Just because you did something that didn't work out for your particular goals doesn't mean that it got you nowhere. That's the other thing to think. And there is a ton of research on this, that a patient's goal is different than what their doctor's goal is. And also, there's quite a bit of research that what the doctor thinks is successful is not the same as what the patient thinks is successful. Hair loss is a great example. In the literature, if we can slow down hair loss and if we can improve some hair growth up to like 30, 50% perhaps, we find that incredibly successful. Why? Because the alternative is no improvement. And so any treatment that improves hair growth by 50%, the researchers are high-fiving, everybody's happy. Except the patient. The patient is not happy. Because if we poll people who are losing their hair and say, what does success look like to you? Do you know what they say? I want 100% of my hair back. And so always there's this disconnect between what your doctor finds successful and what you find successful. And so it's very, very common that people leave a treatment block with either a practitioner or with a program or with a medication or a supplement, and they feel less than supported. They feel like it didn't really work because it didn't achieve their goals. And yet their goals, according to the research, actually were met because what we were trying to do was have some improvement. So when we look back at those past experiences where you maybe had partial improvement or we learned something about you, right? Everyone gets mad when we run lab work and it comes back fine, which is so weird because you would think we would be ecstatic, right? We ran your thyroid and your thyroid is fine. And patients leave those appointments actually feeling relatively disappointed because they were looking for something on paper to explain why they feel the way they feel. And so we want to use that past information to teach us what to do with you going forward. You didn't respond to that? Okay, great. We're going to try this instead. We did that lab work and it was normal. Awesome. It teaches us something. This is what we should test instead. You did this and we got partial improvement. Awesome. Amazing. So helpful. We're going to do this instead. Except to do this instead means you need to still be trying and showing up and being there. But what's way more common is that you got partial improvement, normal lab work, or something didn't work, and you quit. You don't keep going. And yet in medicine, how we get people from A to Z is often through a lot of learning and trying. We never hit it out of the park first time. And if we do, that's luck. That's not because your practitioner was brilliant. It's because we got lucky. And, the bets we placed on statistics was if we do this, we think it will get better. And you did. It's amazing. And yet that's not what happens that often. We actually need to try and try again. And it's not because we don't know what we're doing. It's because there is a process for getting you from A to Z. So let's not regret, or we're going to stop regretting past investments, past treatments, past programs, past supplements, past drugs for not getting you to your goals. Because if we spin it and look at it from a learning perspective, we can say very clearly, this didn't work. This partially worked. This is what I learned from doing this. We got clearer on the cause of my symptoms because we ran a couple tests and they were normal. So let's not regret the past investments that we've made that didn't get you to where you wanted to go. Because I bet they partially got you there, or they taught us a lot. But we can only reap that benefit if you keep going. So if we learn a lot on paper, but you quit, then we're never going to get anywhere. If you learned that tracking your food is a catastrophe for you, that doesn't mean you can't work with a nutritionist. It means that particular strategy was not good for you. Let's take that as a learning moment and keep moving forward. But don't banish nutritionists from your life because that one particular strategy didn't work. We need to move forward from the learning that we had from that strategy not working and find a strategy that does. I want you to stop stopping, essentially, because the last thing you did didn't work out. That's really this whole conversation. And when I opened with that phrase and I wrote this, I make little notes before I start a podcast, and I was writing down all the little bullet points that I wanted to touch on and why I wanted to focus on this as we go into the fall is that we 100% tarnish our future potential by thinking about our past failures. Every time we go through that new door, we think about how shitty the last door was. And sometimes, especially when it comes to health, it makes us fearful of leaning forward into something new, especially when there's money and time involved. It feels like a gamble, and you know what you feel like right now. We're very loss averse, right? It's loss aversion. We don't want to lose anything. So if you're kind of sort of okay right now, even though you're exhausted and you have wicked period cramps, the idea of leaning into something new when the last thing you tried didn't work, you truthfully would rather just stay the same than risk something new. Risk putting your time, risk putting your money towards something new. You would rather stay the same, even though we would complain about how we feel right now, right? I'm kind of tired. I have wicked menstrual cramps and I still have adult acne. That actually feels better than taking the risk of doing something new when our past experience didn't work out. But I would really like us as a group to try and do the opposite and say, that relationship didn't work. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about my needs. I learned a lot about what my goals are and how my needs can be met. I am going to have a new relationship with my health, with my nutrition, with a practitioner, with an exercise plan. Because just because your exercise plan failed over the summer doesn't mean you can't exercise ever again. Actually, it's quite the opposite. It's that we need to find one that does work for you. So when we think about our past knowledge and how that only could get us so far, I also want you to think about the resources and help that you need to move yourself forward that are different than the resources and help you found in the past. So if reading a blog article about a cream for your eczema didn't help you before, I probably wouldn't go back to another blog article and read about their cream. Right? If we learned anything from that experience, it's that we need a different resource to help us achieve our goals. And it is common that, if we try one TikTok trend and it doesn't help, that we, invariably try some other TikTok trend because, again, expanding our resources feels risky, right? Stepping outside of the ways that we normally consume health information can feel very risky. But I want you to think about the kind of resources and people that you have on your team going forward into the fall. Do you need to subscribe to a newsletter of a more reputable nutrition company? Do you need to enlist a different person or different facility? I'm thinking about gyms that may help you actually meet your goals better. Do we need to do something really new and get outside the way we normally do things in order to achieve new knowledge and achieve new experiences? Remember, you are in the middle of your health journey. So anything you try on for the fall, whether it's a yoga class or a new practitioner or a new way of grocery shopping, you're not stuck with it. We're in the middle. We're in the middle of your health journey. And if we can have that mindset of, this is for me to learn, this is an experiment, I'm going to reflect on what I get out of this relationship and use that to continue to move forward, because we are in the middle. We are in the middle of our health journey. You are not at the end. So while we're not regretting our past health choices, and we're going to lean into a different way of thinking about our health experiences in the fall, we're probably going to have to take some risks. We're definitely going to have to go on some dates with some new things. And remembering that we are just in the middle, and the thing that works for you in this season of your life is going to be different than what worked for you in the past. And it's going to be different than what works for you in the future. So this black and white, very absolute way of thinking about what you do for your health probably needs to go by the wayside, the same as our past regrets. Because where you are in this season of your life, with the time, what you have to invest, your interest in your health is going to wax and wane too. Sometimes it's just straight up disinteresting to focus on your health. I think is it uninteresting? Not interesting. It's not interesting to focus on your health all the time. And so your needs during that phase of life are going to be very different than when you have a very specific health goal and you want to pursue it. And so welcome back. We're really excited about our fall content for you. We're going to keep pushing the envelope forward and helping you understand and be that resource for you for good health information. So if this is not a podcast that you have clicked subscribe to, and while you're there, you might as well give us a 5-star review. Let's get good information in front of you for the back half of this year. Let's stop regretting the past and lean into some future ideas. And remember, we're just in the middle of our health journey, and we're going to meet you right where you are. You can take what you need, but we're not going to regret the past, because that's really going to get in the way of you pursuing the future. I hope you enjoyed that episode of Women's Health Unplugged. My goal is to help you feel more confident about your health. Please remember that what we talked about today in the podcast does not constitute medical advice, nor was a doctor-patient relationship formed. If you have questions about your healthcare or about how today's topic pertains to you, please take it up with your family doctor, your specialist, or someone on your health team.